to say when they jet back into the country. But then now we move away from the fuel discussion, and the ongoing financial crisis in public schools may persist until next week, Wednesday, when the government is set to release the much-needed capitation funds. The Ministry of Education says that the National Treasury has released 16.2 billion shillings, which will be wired to schools by September 20th, 2023. However, given the huge debts facing public, primary and secondary schools, head teachers and principals say the money is too little to help them run institutions optimally.
After KTN News reported on a 29 billion shilling debt owed to public secondary schools by the government, the Minister of Education now says it has received 16.2 billion shillings as capitation funds from the National Treasury for disbursement in public primary, junior and secondary schools. Accordingly, junior secondary will receive 1.7 billion shillings, free primary education 1.5 billion, and free day secondary education 12.9 billion shillings. But schools will not receive their money until Wednesday. A statement by Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang released Friday says the funds will be wired to respective school accounts by September 20th, 2023, with the aim of facilitating the smooth delivery of targeted learning activities.
Schools that are sub-county schools, that are purely day schools, they are relying entirely on government capitation. The parents are not paying anything. So you can picture, this is the third week, we are beginning the fourth week, and they have not yet received their capitation.
Key activities here marked for this term are national exams, which requires that schools be adequately funded. Given the existing funding gap, there are fears that preparations for the national examinations will be thrown in disarray.
Revision programs are on in virtually all schools. Practicals, students need to be given opportunity to test. Even as we wait for requirements from NEC of what we will need for national exams, no more practicals in schools should be taking place. So this is a challenge, and the cry out there is loud.
Questions are now arising as to who, between the Minister of Education and the National Treasury, is responsible for the financial woes in public schools. Members of Parliament particularly questioning why, despite the National Assembly approving the requisite funds for free primary and day secondary education, there is always a delay in disbursement.
Ombi langu ni kuuliza wale ambao wanatoa pesa kutoka kwa Treasury kurelease kwa mashule na Minister of Education wa release pesa kwa wakati ifaao.
Meanwhile, principals are going out of their way to source for funds to run schools, with many taking loans.
We are supposed to deduct certain statutory deductions, NSSF, NHIF, you name them. And a delay in these deductions attracts a penalty. If we checked, you'll discover that many schools are currently with very heavy penalties.
Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu is on record stating that the government plans to revert to the original 50-30-20 disbursement plan. A move Kenya Secondary Schools Heads Association Chairperson Kai Ndemoli terms the only way out of the current financial troubles for schools.
And we've been saying we need a change in the funding model. Because for the last 2 financial years, funding has been coming in a quarterly basis, 25%, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. That is where we believe we lost count by moving away from the 50, 30, 20%. And that's where there is a problem.
Shadrach Miti, KTN News.
To health now, where Kenya medical practitioners and dentists